welcome to Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where the Sudoku gods have been kind to me today, even if the weather gods are threatening to be very unkind. We've got sort of hurricane winds forecast in the UK for some time soon. Anyway, let's get this video done. Before that, why do I think the Sudoku gods have been kind? Well, yesterday they made me face Emre Kalotoglu's Border Sums puzzle, which took me 96 minutes. Today, we've got number 5 is Still Alive by Ced Holleyson, and Ced's puzzles are normally quite approachable, so I'm hoping that Ced's true to form. Ced is a wonderful constructor. He's appeared on the channel many times before, hails from the Philippines, and I think is responsible for some of the puzzles in the upcoming Sudoku Grand Prix this weekend. So if you're into your Sudoku competitions, you'll be able to get more of Ced's puzzles this weekend. And I quite like this one because I have actually spotted something in the grid, which is rare for me, but it's called Number 5 is Still Alive. I'll read the rules in a sec, but look, there's a 5 there, there's a 5 there, and there's a great big 5 there. Or we could view this if we wanted to think about it. We could think about Simons, couldn't we? Maybe these are S's. I think that's what Ced's really done. Anyway, I'll read you the rules in just a second. I've got a couple of things to mention first. If you follow us on Patreon for our crossword content, then you will be pleased today because Mark has just released his latest Battle with the Times Club Monthly Special, the absolutely vicious cryptic puzzle. The attempts every month. That's now available. I don't know how he got on this month, but I enjoy watching those videos because Mark is frankly the only person on this earth who could attempt that puzzle without a dictionary with any chance of success. So it's always worth it's always worth watching it because there's nothing quite as funny as seeing your best friend fall off a roof, which he sometimes does metaphorically. During his solves of those crosswords. Other than that, oh yeah, we've had a lot of recommendations for a puzzle. Let me find it. Hang on a sec. I'm having difficulty working out where it is. Is it down here? Yes, this is it. So it's called Balance Equals Entropy, and it's by Jeremy Dover and Raumplaner or Raumplanner. And yeah, it's got a 100% rating on Logic Masters Germany, which ordinarily would be, yeah, fantastic, let's get on with it, let's do it on the channel. But the rules to this are very complicated. They involve balancing weights across the Sudoku grid and something called entropy as well. So yeah, there's quite a lot going on. So my intention is, providing the weather doesn't blow over the house this afternoon, I'm going to attempt this puzzle later on today. And if I can solve it and it seems totally reasonable, then it'll appear on the channel, hopefully in the coming days. If the rules feel a bit much, then what I might do, assuming I can solve it at all, is to put a solve on Patreon. So hopefully in some form or another, Balance Equals Entropy will appear in the coming days. And that's all I've got to tell you. So let's get on with the puzzle. The rules are as follows. Normal Sudoku rules apply. That's good. Digits in cages sum to a number that ends in 5. Okay, so this is the Number 5 is Still Alive rule. So that's telling us that these digits here, when we sum them, we must get to a number that ends in 5. So it's either going to be 25 or 35 for this cage, because we couldn't make a 5-cell cage that contained an 8 add up to 15, no matter how hard we tried. And digits cannot repeat within a cage. That's the only other rule. And Ced's been very generous. Look, I've got 1 of each given digit. So I've got 9 given digits for a change, which is super. And you can have a go at the puzzle. Do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. Now, how do we get cracking? I can see that these 5s, that cage there is enormous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. Okay, so that is a 9-cell cage, which means it must contain, because digits can't repeat within cages, it must contain 1 of the digits once each. And that means that this is a 6-9 pair. I can tell you that straight away. And the reason for that is that this cage must contain a 1 and a 2. And the 1 and the 2 can't be in those cells because of Sudoku. So the 1 and the 2 must be in these cells. In fact, the 1 must be in one of those 2 cells, look. The 2 is a little bit more flexible, but why is this interesting? Well, it means this cage, which is a 2-cell cage, must sum to a number that ends in 5. So can it add up to just 5 now? No, because 1 and 2 are not available, so we can't put 1, 4 or 2, 3 in here. So it must add up to 15, because there's no way we can make it add up to 25. And there's a 7 here. So that's a 6-9 pair. And that means we can place 9 here. That's beautiful. That's really, and that means I can get 9 and 6 straight away. That's absolutely beautiful. It's not complicated once you see it, but it's really, it's just very elegant. So once we got this as 9, 6, the next question I was thinking about was, where does 9 go in my 9-cell cage? And it was ruled out of all of those cells by Sudoku. So it has to go here, and that placed the 9 and the 6 at the top. So 6 is in one of these cells. And now we're stuck. Are we actually stuck, or can we do something useful? We can well, maybe I should have started actually with my one tip. I do have a tip for number 5 is still alive, and that is because this does appear in the World Championship from time to time, so I've done a few of these in the past, and you should always remember a 3-cell cage in a number 5 is still alive puzzle can only add up to 15. And the reason for that is that if you try and make it add up to 5, you'll run out of space, because 1 plus 2 plus 3 is already 6. And if you try and make it add up to 25, then 7, 8 and 9 only adds up to 24. So each of these has to add up to 15. And those have to add up to 10. These two have to add up to 6, which is useful actually, because with a 5 here, we can't make this a 1-5 pair. So this has got to be a 2-4 pair, and there's a 2 here, so we get more digits in the grid. Look, Sudoku gets us this one. 4 makes an appearance in the cage back over here. So 4 can't repeat in the cage. So 4 is in a domino in box number 1 now. 4 is locked out of quite a lot of cells in box 3. Those two add up to 10. Okay, I'm going to tell you something very interesting. These 2 cells add up to 9. There, I've said it. Yes, I am a very interesting person to talk to at parties. How do I know these 2 add up to 9? Well, it's a little bit because of the secret, actually, but let me explain. This row, obviously because of the secret, will contain all of the digits 1 to 9 once each. So that row adds up to 45. This is something I knew. Then I noticed those 2 cages there, each of which individually adds up to a number ending in 5. So I knew together they add up to a number that ends in 0. Well, they definitely don't add up to 20, because 20 would require these 3 cells to add up to 25. That's not going to work. And they definitely don't add up to 40, because that would require those 3 cells to add up to 5, and that also won't work, because you can't make the oranges add up to -1. Now, that means they add up to 30, and 45 minus 36 is 9, so they add up to 9. I told you that was interesting. I can't do anything with it, but it does mean that these are not a 3 and a 6. So maybe we've got to think about... Yeah, so you can't put 3. Yeah, okay, so let's think about 2, 3 and 4 in this cage, which of course is the counterpart to its friend up here. Another 9-cell cage, and we've got to put 2, 3 and 4 in it. Oh, well, there's a few things going on here then. It's because I could have done exactly the same thing I did with the 1 and the 2 down here, because the 2, 3 and 4 must live in this cage. They have to be in those 5 cells. We know this one isn't a 3 because the oranges add up to 9, but we also now know that this little cage can't add up to 5 anymore, because it would need to access the 4, the 2 or the 3 to do that. So this adds up to 15, and it's got a 6 in the row, so that is 7, 8. So these are different, but their logic was quite similar. Oh, right, that's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. This is the sort of puzzle I wish we got sent more on Cracking the Cryptic, because it's already so clever, but it's not too hard. 6, 7, 8 here. Those two add up to 9, so they must be 4 and 5. There's a 4 here, so that's a 4. That's a 5. So 5 is in one of those 3 cells. 4 by Sudoku is placed in box number 2, which actually means, look, by Sudoku, if we look at all these 4s dotted around the grid, that 4 in box number 3 has to be in this cage, which we know adds up to 15. So now we know the other 2 cells in this cage add up to 11. Well, they're not 2, 9, they're not 5, 6, and they're not 4, 7. So they are 3 and 8. So this, and the 8 must be over here. So this is 4, 8, and this is 3. Straight away, and we need 1s, 2s, and 5s to complete row 1. I'm just going to pencil mark that and have a look and see if we can do any better. That's not 5. This one, I think, can be anything. Okay, so we almost did very well, but not quite. Now, here's something interesting. 1 has to be in one of those 3 cells, which is in this this 5 thing here. So it can't repeat in the 5 thing. So 1 is in this domino, which means nothing. Oh, 9 is in one of those 2 cells in box number 2. So 9 is in one of these 3 cells in box number 8. These 2 cells, sorry, I should have got this the moment this 4 went in. Those 2 cells have to add up to 11 to make this cage add up to 15. And they can't be 4, 7, 3, 8, or 2, 9. So that's a 5, 6 pair. Oh, and we can see the order because we've got the 6 locked into one of these squares. So that's 6, that's 5. 5 is a little bit interesting in this cage now. It's got to live in it somewhere, and it's got to live in the top part of it. I'm not sure if that's important or not. 3 has to go in one of these 2 squares. So again, 3. So this is now a 3, 4, 6 triple in the row, which actually means we know exactly what these digits are. And therefore, yeah, we can't repeat 3 in this cage. So 3 has to go into one of these 2 cells where it overlaps with our pencil marks for 4. So that is a 3, 4 pair. And that means 3 is in one of 2 places in box 3. And these cells have to be made up from the digits 1, 2, 5, 7, and 8. And we can get rid of 1s here, 2s here, and 8s here. And we can probably do better than that, but I can't immediately see how. Now, what about those 3 digits then? They have to be 1s, 7s, and 8s. So we can put that in. That doesn't work quite as well on this cage, look down here, because we've already managed to lock the 1, 7, and 8 out of this cage. And these squares have got to be 5, 6, and 9. Okay, but 5 can't repeat in the cage. So this becomes 6 or 9. And, oh, in fact, yeah, that's very nice, isn't it? This 5 sees this by Sudoku and this by repeating in cage logic. So the 5 gets placed here. There's a 5 in one of 2 places in box 3 now. 6 is in one of 2 places in box 2. And we probably just have to find some Sudoku now to help us out and learn more about the puzzle. So I am going to tell you some Sudoku things now. Where does 8 go in column 9? We'll start there. We've got 8 in this domino and 8 in this domino down here. So there are a couple of ways of thinking about this. You can think about it in terms of where does 8 go in column 9? You can see it can't go in those 3, it can't go in those 3, and it can't go in those 2, so it has to go here. But some people prefer to ask, okay, is to focus on these two digits and to say, could either of these digits be an 8? And the answer is no. And the reason that neither of these can be an 8 is if you were to try and put an 8 into one of these two cells, it would be a third 8 in 2 columns, because in column 7 we know there's exactly 1 8 in a correct solution. In column 8 we know there's exactly 1 8 in a correct solution. So there are 2 8s in these columns, but we know there's also 2 8s in these 4 blue cells. So any more 8s is going to be a third 8 in the columns, and that is simply not going to work. So we can get rid of that as an 8. We get a 7 in here, which means that we can do exactly the same logic and ask where 7 goes in column 9, and it has to be in one of those 2 cells, which is nearly beautiful, but not quite beautiful enough, I don't think. And we've got this digit, which is in the cage. Right. Yeah, here's some nice logic as well. Where does that digit, let's make it red for a moment, where does this digit go in box number 9? Well, it can't repeat in its own cage, and it can't go there by Sudoku, so it goes exactly there, which displaces one of our pencil marks for 1s, so we get 1, 1, 7 straight away. That gives us 7, 8, 8, 4 straight away. So that's no longer a 4. 6, 9. One of these 2 squares is red now by Sudoku, because we know that these 2 digits are the same. Whatever they are has to appear up here, and that's actually lovely, because this is now a red 7 pair, because we know 7 is in this domino and we know red is in this domino, so this is a red 7 pair, so it doesn't include a 3. So 3 must go here, so 3 does not go here. 3 is in one of 2 places now. And these squares, because this is a 6 or a 9, these 2 squares are either 6, 9 or 7, and that gives a triple in this column on 6, 9 and 7, which means the rest of the column must be 1, 2 and 3. Oh, and where does 1 go? Yes, okay, 1 goes in the corner, and this is a 2, 3 pair, and therefore those 2 squares are either 4, oh, well, the only place that 4 can go now in box 9 is here. So this square is a 6 or a 9, and it's whatever red isn't. And then that square will go here and be in one of those 2 cells as well. So actually we've got quite a bit done, and that digit must be a naked single. That's a 5, yeah, it's the only thing it can be. So this digit over here is no longer 5. These 2 squares definitely include a 2 by Sudoku, but I don't know if we know which of those is the 2. We've got this cage to use up, but I imagine might be able to do something with this actually. We've got 7 here, and this cage must add up to 25 or 35. Now it can't add up to 35 now, because if it did, 35 plus 7 is 42, and these 2 squares would have to be a 1, 2 pair to make 45, and they can't be. So this adds up to 25. 25 plus 7 is 32, so these 2 add up to 13, which means this one is a 7 and this one is a 6, and that's beautiful because that means red is 6, and that's a 7, and that's a 9, and the world is falling into place, nearly at least. What are those 2 digits then? 2 and 9, I suppose. So that's a 2-9 pair. This 6-9 is figured out. And okay, what about the bottom of column 4? We need 1s, 2s, 3s and 9s. So this square is a naked single. That can only be a 3. It sees 1, 2 and 9 in its row. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So this square's a 3. The bottom of this column is now exactly equal to 1, 2, 9. That means these squares have to be 3, 7 and 8, which we can probably, yeah, we can deduce something about, because these 2 have to add up to 10 to make our 15 cage work. So we can place the 8 here. We can place the 8 here. We now know those two squares have got to be 1 and 7, and we know the order. We know this is an 8 by Sudoku. Those squares have got to be 7 and something. Why can't I scan that? 7 and 5. Okay, I can nearly scan it. That makes that a 5 and that a 2 by Sudoku. So this became a 1, 5, 8 triple. Therefore, that's an 8. This becomes 1, 5. We can't be that far away from doing this, I don't think. This 3, 7 is resolved at the bottom. We need a 1 in one of those squares, so that's got to be that way up. That's got to be that way up. Oh, it's probably, I bet you this digit's going to be determined by this cage now. We said that cage had to add up to 25, didn't we? So how much have we got so far? 23. So that should have to be a 2, and it is a 2. And that's going to be something else, a 6. Okay, so that's not 9. This isn't 1, and that one we don't know about. 3 here, no, we do know about it. 3, 2, that's now a 9. So 9 has to go down here exactly in the corner, and that's 9 in the corner, which doesn't get a song. That's a 4 by Sudoku because it sees 3, 6 in its row. So this is a 6 by Sudoku, I think. This is a 3 by Sudoku. That's a 6 by Sudoku, a 4, a 3. And okay, so we just have to figure out what's going on at the bottom here. How do we do that quickly? We probably have to use this cage, don't we, which I've not even thought about. Oh, this is a 1, 2, 3 triple. So where does 3 go in this row? It can only go here. So this is a 1 or a 2. 1, 2, and 5 to place along here. So let's. I see. So this is a 1, 2, 5 triple in box 7, which means those two squares have to be 7 and 8, and we know the order. So that's 8, that's 7. These 3 squares add up to 24. We know the cage adds up to a number ending in 5, so it's 25. That must be a 1, which gets the 1 and the 5 done, gets the 2 and the 1 and the 2 and the 5, and it all finishes, I think. Yay! Absolutely beautiful. That is a quality puzzle. It's not too difficult today. It's very much in the sort of category of quite approachable Sudoku, but there is nothing wrong with that. That was so gorgeous to solve. Just the way that these long cages interacted with the given digits. And there was even some quite quality tricks in here as well, like this 6, or we didn't know it was a 6, but the red digit having to overlap with the 7 up here and making a 6, 7, 9 triple. That's very, very beautiful. Yeah, it's just very nice set. I really like that. I hope you guys did too. Do let me know in the comments. I do enjoy reading them, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.